All right. So, welcome to the Lunch and Learn today. We're going to talk about how we at Gipson Cyber cover SaaS solutions. So that means software as a service solutions, also called cloud products. You'll hear us say that things like cloud storage, um, chat solutions, messaging solutions, all those things are used every day during regular business operations and can and will store sensitive data just based on doing business. You got to send the name of a client to a colleague. You have to upload a W-2 to your bookkeeper so that they can continue to work on the client. Now, all these different things are just normal business operations, but can be susceptible and vulnerable to attack if they're not properly mitigated and secured. So our competitors don't do this for small businesses. They don't secure cloud solutions. And it's honestly because it's it's more overhead than they actually want to put the time into. We have to actually have an account. We have to go in and install this stuff onto the cloud solutions manually with our team, and that's just something that the big box store competitors are not willing to do, or not willing to pay the money to do. But that's not secure. That just means that they're opening their clients up for vulnerability. So not only do we cover to the devices like any other antivirus, like all the other antiviruses out there, but we provide an endpoint protection as well as cloud service protection. So let's check out all the current cloud services that we cover. We have Gmail, Google Drive, Office 365 Mail, O365 OneDrive, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, Dropbox, Box, Citrix ShareFile, and Slack. All of the big players out there in terms of storing and sharing data and files are covered here, and we're able to securely operate within them. Google Drive, if you're wondering about Google Chat, because there is an application called Google Chat, it is covered under Google Drive because when you upload files to Google Chat, they automatically get put into Google Drive. So it is covered it is covered under that, if in case anyone is wondering. But in terms of specifically messaging apps, Microsoft Teams and Slack are covered even further, meaning that we can perform data loss prevention searching, keyword searching on the actual chat messages themselves in Teams and Slack. This would be great. I was just talking with a client that is running a call center, like a suicide hotline, and they will be opening up a chat system for people to contact them and chat with them. And they could utilize things like Slack or Microsoft Teams to do that in a very secure way, because you can provide, especially with Slack, where you don't really even need to download anything. You can utilize Slack right. Their clients can utilize Slack right through the browser, and that chat will still be secured under our monitoring because it's within that same organization in Slack. Does that make sense? So because their Slack allows you to open it up for the public to join into your Slack, but we still want to be making sure that that's secure. So what if an attacker contacts a suicide hotline and provides a malicious file or sends them a malicious link? All those things could be an avenue of attack for hackers, and we want to make sure that those are covered. We also do.
Is that also true for Microsoft for Teams?
Yes. Same thing. It will also cover any sort of chats and files that come in. The reason that it's a separate, Teams is separate and Slack is separate than, let's say, Google Chat is because they are considered two separate applications. Like you can download and use Microsoft Teams and not use OneDrive or SharePoint, but you can't do that with Google Drive. Does that make sense? So like if you have Google Drive, you also have Google Chat. It just comes with it.
And so if someone's running some type of chat room, they are not necessarily covered, even if it's through Microsoft. They might have an antivirus, but they won't have their other systems secure.
Correct.
And,
yes. Yeah. Like I was mentioning, our competitors. I've actually haven't seen a competitor yet that will monitor software SaaS solutions for small businesses. We're the only ones. Because it's a larger amount of overhead, but I'm fine with that because it's much more secure. I'd rather have that holistic approach where, we're not just covering your devices. We're covering anywhere that you do business. So if that's in Microsoft Teams, then we need to cover that. If that's in Dropbox, we need to cover that. Unfortunately, if you have, we can't cover every software solution. So these are the ones that we currently cover. But as we grow and we get have more development time, we'll be developing more routes and avenues for other solutions as well.
So I have a question on Dropbox and OneDrive. If people have that on their systems, they're considered a secure drive typically, I think. So how do we add to that, having this SaaS solution?
So we add a security solution on top of that. So when a file is being uploaded or downloaded, it's being scanned by our systems to not have to not be malicious in nature. So if it's especially for uploads, if you're uploading to SharePoint, you want to make sure that whoever's uploading that file, that they're not uploading malware to be downloaded by other people. And then two, we monitor the downloads from Dropbox for data loss prevention. So if, for example, that call center that I was saying with the suicide prevention, they have to deal in specific terms for HIPAA compliance. So if we have data loss prevention that will alert and prevent downloads or downloads from happening if they see that there's certain keywords that shouldn't be being let out into the public space, such as a social security number, credit cards, personal identifiable information. That will flag for us and even so much as stop the download from happening, so that there's no potential loss of data. And then you don't have a whole nother other entity coming after you for losing information outside of your clients. So yeah, that was a good question though, because and that's the biggest thing there is with Dropbox. It's great. It's already secured. The transmission and storage of files is secured, and that's great. But it's like it's like having a fort, right? You can bring files in and out of the fort, but if a Trojan horse comes through and a bunch of Romans jump out of inside of your fort, you're just as compromised if they were outside and they broke through the wall or something like that. Just to know an off the cuff analogy, but it kind of goes to this point where yes, it's secure in transmission and encrypted, but what happens if you accidentally let in a malicious file and everyone in your company starts downloading it, thinking that, oh well, this is our Microsoft Teams, it's safe, so we can download it. What if someone gets a user gets either an insider threat user, meaning someone that's already working for you and is acting maliciously because they've been fired or something like that, or someone that has compromised the user's credentials gets into Dropbox, Microsoft Teams, or whatever, and starts to infect files for download later. That's been a case for a number of different companies. They won't upload new files. They'll just change and edit the old files and start taking data that way. So our systems will also monitor for that for users acting in an inappropriate way, called user behavior analytics, which is another thing that most of our other competitors that are traditional antivirus software companies do not protect against. They don't look for data for user behavior and endpoint behavior analytics as we do, because they're just focused on securing the device, securing a computer, and that's it.
I think one of the things about employers, they hire people, they trust them, they work for them. You always want to think the best of them, right? That's why they're on your team, and they are your people. They're part of your small business. But having them doesn't necessarily mean that they are who you think they are. Not to put a spin on the negative end of it, but you never know who is on the other side of that malicious software sometimes, you know?
Yes. So, like, for example, you can see here, this is me this morning, uploading and doing some in different files. This is on our stuff. This is just file names, so it's not like I'm showing you any important information, but you can see we can watch all this stuff being uploaded and exported into our drive, so that anything that gets malicious, I mean, from PowerPoints to movie files to pictures, anything that could possibly be malicious is being scanned and removed from the drive. And that's the biggest thing, is that it's being removed from the drive so that it can't replicate or propagate, I should say, propagate through the environment, meaning that it can't move from one person's computer to another, or from one person's account to another, because it's been, killed and quarantined. Let's go with where are we at here? Let's try to find total files. What am I looking for? Custom queries. Let's go back here and see this alert. No. Well, I can't find the page that I'm looking for right now. But I was just gonna show more about the I guess we can look at analytics. Yeah, here we go. Here's the what I wanted to see. So we can also see things like, this is just over our Google Drive. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So when we're looking at, this is for us, but when we're looking at our clients, we can also see these things. And we can see how many files were recently uploaded, how many have externally facing files, meaning files that can be accessed outside of the company, internal files, all these different things. We have any security events? Of course, we don't have any security events, which is good. So, and we have even external groups, meaning that, if there's Google Drive and Microsoft Office 365 have abilities to connect organizations together. So if I'm a company and or let's say one of my clients wants to use chat, and we can share files back and forth, we can connect our companies together and be like a trusted source. Well, this is showing how many connections they have. This is good, because what if you didn't know that you had a connection to another company or another entity, meaning that somebody tried to connect to your business by an outside source and was able to get in. So now we're able to monitor for that. And that's the biggest thing that people don't realize in Slack and Teams and all these other chat messages is that you can allow people from the outside world to access and come into your network. It's not that difficult. It's really just a click of a couple of buttons that pop up when they request it. So if you've accidentally hit that button and they're now in your chats, they can see everything and do everything that they are allowed to do. So this simple little number here can prove to be of great importance in terms of security, because if you're connected to an entity that you shouldn't be, or you don't want to be, that's something that we need to know, because that could be it could be a compliance violation. So I just wanted to show a little bit about that. We also do, and this you'll see this being sent out to our clients as well. We do these sort of security checkup reports, and this happens once a week. And we also do monthly stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, this is for us. We haven't had anything this week, so there's nothing going on. But and I don't even know which one will actually show anything. No. But yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is that the security of the SaaS applications is what brings our package into that holistic approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we always try to bring our clients off of on-premise solutions or physical solutions into the cloud, and then secure that cloud even further.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Google has good out of the box security for a lot of different things, especially with the Google Workspace, and the same with Microsoft. But there's much more that could be monitored for, which is not generally monitored for in the default sense. So we put our security services on these SaaS solutions to allow for our clients to be protected no matter where or how they operate their business.
How about from an endpoint and an antivirus point of view outside of the drive, because that's a portion of it too? How does that affect? How does ours compare to another out-of-the-box company for antivirus?
Sure. Let me pop over to the Harmony endpoint. Letting it load. Come on. It's because I'm on video at the same time, so it's kind of freaking out for a second. Just give it 1 minute. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is our account. We can go to our MSP view. Dang it. Come on. Okay, so the MSSP view means that we can see all of our accounts at one time, and this is going to be one of the biggest differentiators as well, is because we can see all the accounts, and we are having human analysts actively looking at this constantly to make sure that there's if there's any detections, that we're automatically looking at them and making sure that they are getting properly mitigated, and two, we're providing extra searching and detection capabilities from our human-based analysts to add into the investigation. So if we block you block a download from a phishing email, we're not just going to give you a pop-up that says, hey, you got a phishing email. We're also going to say, hey, you got a phishing email, and we found that this email was seen on 2 of your other users. We've removed it from your server. So that's where our security is coming from. Not just, hey, we found this. Hey, we found this. We also found it on other machines, and we've removed it from your network, and it's not a problem anymore. Like that's the type of level that we're trying to bring, and that we bring. So when we're coming through here, we have a number of different policies that we could set. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have everything from, we have URL filtering, download web protection, credential protection, meaning that as you're putting in your username and password into forms and fields, our system is making sure that that form isn't linked to a malicious site or a malicious actor. Of course, file protection and downloads. Then here's the behavioral. This is something that is not provided by traditional antivirus. This is where what we call endpoint protection. I think we spoke about this during our last podcast, Geraldine, that endpoint protection versus antivirus. This is the difference. All this web and file stuff, that's antivirus. Behavioral and analysis, this is endpoint protection. Okay. So we have anti-bots anti-ransomware, anti-exploits, forensic analysis, as well as remediation. So we're able to detect if there's a certain bot that's trying to get onto your machine, or if your machine has been part of a botnet. We can also detect for any sort of bot related activity from your applications on the machine. And then we have anti-ransomware, of course, which is just like it sounds. It's anti-ransomware. And then anti-exploit. This means that it's not just an antivirus that we're talking about. We're not just giving you a pop-up. This is saying anti-exploit, meaning that it's blocking files that are being downloaded, but also searching for doing analysis on that file to then search through it throughout the computer to find other instances of that file within the computer. Many times when an attacker will send a download file, a malicious file, that file will have download points in multiple sections of the computer. So it won't be just in your downloads folder or your desktop. It'll be buried down in deep into the file structure and the file system where they can't be found easily. This anti-exploit detects all that and remediates and then this remediation remediates all that together. So again, not just a pop-up on a single download. We're talking behavioral analysis to verify that what the user is doing is concurrent with what they have been doing in the past, and it alerts us to that effect if it's otherwise, as well as anti-ransomware and anti-exploit beyond the initial pop-up download or the initial download block.
And as far as small companies are concerned, they don't have a lot of this. They might have an antivirus, but they don't have the remediation and the exploit and the anti-bot and anti-ransomware, right?
Yes. So they'll have the web and files, but they're not going to have behavioral or analysis.
Right, which is another layer of security, like a cake, right? So
yes.
We're adding that security level and I think a lot of small businesses only think of antivirus, right? They don't think about the other levels of the behavioral and the analysis that we do with Checkpoint, which
yes.
is why we're such a heavyweight in what we do, as opposed to just using a Norton, which is also a great product, but just a different product.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Nortons and the McAfees of the world serve a purpose. They're great for home use and protecting families. But when it comes to protecting a business from an actual attacker trying to actively exploit that business, you need something bigger than just web and files.
Mm-hmm.
You need something that's monitoring you 24/7 and going, okay, well, Nick normally doesn't log in from Germany and then download a bunch of files over to a server that's in China. So maybe we should alert someone to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the behavioral does.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, well, you downloaded this malicious file, we're stopping it. It's, yeah, you haven't been seen doing this in a long time or ever, so we're going to check it out. And that's the same thing with, anti-exploit. Yeah, the file that's being downloaded into your downloads folder is going to be stopped here in the web and files. But what about all the other files that have been downloaded, or what about the email that was the email that was sent with this file in there? This anti-exploit. Well, and this is another cool thing. So because we use all of the Harmony products, they all talk to each other. So if an anti-exploit here goes off, it will also start searching in the Checkpoint email for possible threats from phishing and things like that. So if it detects that it was from an anti-exploit was downloaded from your Office 365, it can start searching in Office 365 for other malicious threats.
Mm.
So we're talking cross-platform security based on behavioral analytics, which is really awesome.
Which is great for a company to have everything in one secured area instead of having 4 or 5 different platforms to do these skills that don't cross-check each other. So having this allows us to cross-check and it happens automatically within its own system, which is why it's also better to have maybe one secured network like we have here, as opposed to 4 or 5 different types of products that don't really talk to each other.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I've done that in the past where we've, not in Gipson Cyber, but in my past lives where we had so many different products. There was a product for every little thing that we needed to do. We need to have data loss prevention. You had to have a product for that. You need to do email security. You have a product for that. Endpoint security product for that. And it became, as a security analyst, just a lot. And then you had to buy a product to tie all those products together because it became so much. So this Checkpoint's approach to having it all in one visible pane here, like a pane of glass, is really awesome. And it goes to the fact that this is an enterprise grade solution. This is what the big boys are wanting. They don't want 6 different tools. They want one tool that works together and functions together.
And how important do you think it is for small businesses to know what kind of security they have? Because I've talked to small businesses that have no clue what kind of security their IT companies are supplying. They just have, we're covered. How important is it that they know that they have a secured program like Checkpoint that's doing this work for them?
It'd be really important when the IRS comes knocking or the FTC comes knocking and says, "What do you how did you get all this? How did you lose all this data? What have you been using for your antivirus? Oh, I don't know." That's not a good look on your business. So just in that way, you should know at least what it is. But also for your clients too, when you could use that as a selling point. We value your data, and we are going we invest in the security for your information. We invest in the security for your data, so you can tell that to your clients. And it's another added, like, we use enterprise grade solutions to secure your data to make sure that there are no thefts of your personal information. I think
it's not just their brother or their uncle or someone doing it part-time on the IT basis.
Yeah,
we are a dedicated company for what this purpose is.
Exactly.
And it's different perspective, but it's a much bigger cake layer that we offer.
Yeah, I mean, not that a lot of people would, but I think that people should start asking, businesses with that handle sensitive data, where they're storing that information, or how are they securing that data. Like, if I go to a doctor's office and they want to store my data, where are they going to store it at? They have to store it for a certain amount of period. So I think it's just knowing how you're protected is much better than knowing that I am protected. Okay, yeah, I know that I'm mostly protected in a car when I get into it, but knowing that I'm protected, and knowing that I have side airbags and front airbags and a seatbelt, and my car is crash rated protected, and it's passed all these safety ratings and all this other stuff, because I want to know that I'm going to be protected. So just like when you're looking at a car for safety, you need to be doing that same thing when you're talking about security products, or really sort of any IT product. How are they securing the data that you're going to be inputting into that? So, well, I think this is all the time we have for today, but this has been really great. Thank you, Geraldine, for the great questions. And anything else before we head off?
Nope. It's good to see you guys.
All right, cool. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
Thank
Bye,
you, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.